Green season is here, and here are some of the top 10 decks that I got for you guys that you could be taking to the Double Typhoon Cup event or even the Spring Break events. To celebrate the release of the newest event deck set, Double Typhoon, Bandai is going to be hosting multiple exclusive special tournaments in many of your local game stores, but you can only play green decks for these tournaments. By participating and winning, you're going to get yourself some of these exclusive alt-art cards that no one has ever seen before, which is really exciting. And I'll leave more details to these events in the description box down below. I know many of you guys are excited for the new Terriermon starter deck, so that is definitely the first one that we're going to be talking about in this list alongside with MegaGargomon. Most of the new cards from this starter deck are actually really good, which primarily focuses on the brand new MegaGargomon Ace card. This card has a ton of effects where it can reboot, block your opponent's attacks, suspend your opponent's cards, and even unsuspend itself as well. And after all, it is an ace card, meaning that you can blast Digivolve and do all those crazy combos during your opponent's turn too. This gives the deck all the tools you would need for all your offensive and defensive strategies within one single card. It can even Digivolve on top of any Rapidmon in its name, meaning it can skip the level 5 specifically just by going from the Gold Rapidmon that is a level 4. As for Cherubimon, it also got a bit of support from the new deck. And for this particular build, many cards from the MegaGargomon deck is easily translated over because of the Terriermon and the Lopmon being really good generic cards, as well as the option card Double Typhoon itself. As for the rest of the build, it utilizes mainly cards from the older set, which is EX4 Alternative Being, and that is where the Alliance mechanic first debuted. The new Cherubimon continues to bring back bodies back from the trash or from the hand so that you can utilize it with your alliance combos. And by putting all of them together, you can chunk down your opponent's security bit by bit to win your games and with lots of DP power at the same time. Since this video is all about green decks, then make sure to grab your very own Battle Vault Cyberzone green playmat on the AVAULT store right now so that you can match with all your favorite green decks. As we move on with the list, the next deck I want to talk about is Bloomlordmon. This is probably one of the strongest and the best decks to be taking in this particular format. That is because it is capable of creating a wide board very quickly and digivolving up to your level 6 stack while gaining a ton of memory all at the same time in return. It now has access to Quantumon, which includes one of the best removal tools within the game by sending your opponent's Digimon back to the security and even able to look at your opponent's security stack. This then allows the Bloomlord player to pre-plan all their plays ahead of time since they have that knowledge. But as you guys may know, this deck is relatively skill intensive and requires quite a lot of practice in order to master. So if you're a plant lover but you want to play something slightly easier, then I can recommend you guys to play Rosemon. This deck got quite a significant amount of great support in BT14 and as well as the entire X antibody line now from BT15. This deck is more one-dimensional and easy to play because you're focusing all your resources into one single stack to build up into your Rosemon and Rosemon X. And by doing so, Rosemon can suspend down your opponent's Digimon and unsuspend itself so that you can make multiple attacks. There's also access to Rosemon Burst Mode and Yoshino from BT13 to keep your opponent's Digimon suspended for another extra turn, and then you can swing to trash the opponent's security to help you excel the win condition. The only downside to this build is that it lacks protection, meaning that if your entire stack is gone, you're gonna have to rebuild all over again. But don't worry, it's not hard at all because with all the tamers and reduction cost effects and a bit of gaining memory, you can climb to another stack again very soon. But if you're looking for something that's a little bit more reliable and has a safer playstyle, definitely consider Leomon. The deck mainly focuses on the Fortitude mechanic, which was introduced back in EX5. What it does is that it allows your Digimon to be played back whenever it's deleted as long as it has sources upon deletion. Many cards within the Leomon line have on deletion and on play effects which synergizes with Fortitude to help you gain extra value and advantages during the course of the game. It helps keep your bodies afloat on the board so that your opponent's gonna have to try to deal with them multiple times or have to go through unusual ways to remove it without actually deleting it. Heavy Leomon and the black half of the Digivolution line mainly focuses on de-digivolving your opponent's Digimon, so then you can actually bottom deck their Digimon with lower DP afterwards. Meanwhile, Bancho Leomon and the yellow half of the line mainly focuses on DP reduction effects for removal, as well as giving your opponent's Digimon security -1. Overall, I think Leomon is a very solid choice to take, even though you don't have the capability to spam the board over and over again because of the lack of X antibody option. If you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to give it a like and make sure to subscribe to stay tuned for more top deck list discussions on the channel. If you want to see even more deck lists and spices that I've been cooking up, definitely join the AVAULT Club as I appreciate the support. And just in case if you guys are wondering what I personally want to play, out of all the lists we talked about so far, I'm actually considering to play Leopardmon. Thanks to having its X-antibody form introduced and a bunch of Green Deva cards from the EX5 set, it is now possible to upgrade this deck into a Ultimate Zoo playstyle. The main goal is to hard play your Green Deva Digimon cards as much as possible because they have the beast related traits which actually synergizes with the effects of your Leopardmon. With that, you're able to reduce the play cost and potentially play them for free alongside with Leopardmon X, which is insane. Although the deck has a slightly slower win condition, it is possible to ramp up with a wide board over time, creating many strong, massive, strong bodies so then you can make multiple attacks to win the game. Or on the other hand, you can set up for defenses with Leopardmon's effect by giving everything blocker every time when you play a Digimon too. The deck may feel a little unusual to pick up for the first time just because you're actually hard playing your level 5s, giving your opponent quite a lot of memory right off the bat. But don't worry, I'm here to assure you that all of that is going to pay off once you get into the later stages of the game and once you give a few more practice runs with it. Another deck that I'm personally considering to bring as well is the Tentomon and herculeskabuterimon deck. I recently made a full package of gameplay and deck profile guide on the channel for it, so be sure to check it out if you haven't done so yet. Playing this deck makes me feel nostalgic because it reminds me of the herculeskabuterimon deck back in the BT4 format, and that is exactly when I started playing Digimon. The deck has a mid-range play style by suspending your opponent's Digimon and buffing up your herculeskabuterimon's DP so that you can swing over it and pierce for damage. It can also redirect attacks thanks to Izzy, which is a very interesting mechanic instead of utilizing blocker. And meanwhile your herculeskabuterimon is suspended, it's actually immune to any of your opponent's Digimon effects. The main reason why I enjoy playing this particular green deck a lot recently is because it performs very similar to Black Greymon. And in case if you didn't know, Black Greymon is my #1 favorite deck of all time. And if you guys are a fan of that playstyle as well, then this deck is certainly for you. If you like big bugs in general but want to give something else a try, there's also GrandisKuwagamon, which has a bit of a more unga bunga style to it. Although the deck is not as explosive as it used to be because the promo GrandisKuwagamon is now restricted down to 1, there are still a couple of cards that you guys can substitute in for the build to go for the game plan that runs over your opponent's Digimon by suspending them and unsuspending your own all in one single turn. The level 5 Akumon can still give you a decent amount of control value with the losing memory effect as you build towards your grandest stack to go for the offensive attacks. Otherwise, the other game plan is the high roll to search and find the one and only promo GrandisKuwagamon, use its Digiburst effects to get multiple security attack +1s, and then take out all your opponent's defenses in one go. By maximizing 4 copies of Agility Training and Green Memory Boost, it makes searching for that one particular piece a little bit more consistent and a little bit more possible. Speaking of beating over the opponent's Digimon over and over again, the Angoramon and diarbbitmon is also really good at doing that. It has the capability to execute intricate combos, especially during the end of the turn, by pairing it up with Ruli, because you're able to suspend your opponent's Digimon, unsuspend diarbbitmon, and then use diarbbitmon's effect to attack over the opponent's Digimon multiple times in one single turn. Thanks to the new support of the LM cards from the BT15 set and the diarbbitmon Ace, you can now actually play Digimon via effects too. Bloomlordmon being the main level 5 of the deck all have the same inheritable, which lets you trash the opponent's security every time when you take down the opponent's Digimon. Of course, we talked about how good the effect of trashing the opponent's security is on the channel from before, but one of the decks that I feel that does it the best is actually RustTyrannomon. That is because it has access to the effects of the BT11 Metal Tyrannomon alongside with the newest version of RustTyrannomon Ace. By pairing both cards up into that one stack, you can potentially trash 2 of your opponent's security at a time. Just like most other green decks that we talked about in this video, RustTyrannomon is really good at beating down the opponent's Digimon, but slightly different to all the other green decks with the access of Digimon and other Tyrannomon, you can potentially play some of your tamers for free. And that is a very important aspect to the Tyrannomon game plan because the more tamers you have, the quicker it is for you to Digivolve up into your stack just because most Tyrannomon cards have relatively high Digivolution costs. If you're excited for the new Double Typhoon Advanced deck set or got your hands on it already and want to learn how to play it, be sure to watch the opening and the budget build right now because we're going to be covering lots of content on the channel, so make sure to subscribe. Let me know in the comments as well on what other green decks that you guys might bring to these particular events. As always, you guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. See you in the next video, and this is AVAULT signing